Okay, so you want to hit longer and straighter drives off the tee. Congratulations guys, you have pressed the button. All you now have to do is watch this video in its entirety and I guarantee you will take those to the golf course. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson, welcome back to the channel. First of all, make sure you do subscribe if you want more golf tips, golf reviews and fun golf videos. So in order to hit longer drives, we'll start with that first. What do we have to do? How can we add a little bit of yardage to our tee shots? Because I really want to be the guy who steps on that first tee and hits a drive like that one. That was a nice 270-yard shot straight down the middle of the fairway, and I tried to think, I like to think that that was looking a little bit easy. I haven't gone after it, I haven't tried to really smash it, and that's the first thing you need to think about, guys. If you're wanting to hit longer drives, if you're wanting to hit the ball 283 yards total, I'm taking that all day long. The last thing you want to do is stand there and think, right, I know that speed is the answer to this. I know that if I swing as fast as I possibly can, you can see there, we've taken out the camera and that's gone 177 yards. But why is it only gone 177 yards? Because I absolutely swung as fast as I physically could with that, and I see the long drives guys do that. I see Martin Borgmeier do that. I see Kyle Berkshire do that. Why doesn't that happen? You see, if we look at the GolfSTAND simulator now, you'll see that actually the strike location there was actually quite a long way out of the toe. Therefore, we've only hit 177 yards. And if we have a look at the replay, you'll see just how gear effect is taking motion through that shot. So we are not getting the desired impact. That can all come down to a number of factors in how you release the golf club, but with driver, it's so important to get a nice rhythm, but also keep your balance. Whenever I talk about driver rhythm, I always think about Roger Steele, who I follow on Instagram. He has one of the best driver swings I've ever seen, I think. Roger, you must have a terrible short game, because I don't know how you're not playing on tour with a swing like that and with numbers like that as well. Go and check it out if you want to see him, guys. But for me, I think it's really important that you keep that balance up to the top of the backswing. You're separated, you're lower and upper body. You can see here that my voice has changed pitch just a little bit. If I was to turn up here, not separate at all, then my voice stays exactly the same. I've got my belly hanging out here and I can speak to you all day long. So I'm going to make sure that I get to the top of the backswing, I've coiled up nicely, and I've got a nice rhythm on the way down as well. So I get to the top of the backswing, I feel like there's a tiny bit of lag at the top, and I start the downswing with that lower body. That's going to really help me hit straighter shots like that. You see how that's gone a lot higher, that's straight down the fairway. That's exactly what I'm wanting to do with this club. The last thing I want to do is hit a horrible low pull hook to the left. Yes, I have done that quite a lot in the past. Looking at the bird's eye shot of how that club works through the ball, you can see how my driver face remains a lot squarer, therefore it's being a lot more efficient through impact. That is absolutely what I want to see. All we've spoken about there really is having a nice rhythm. I spoke about sequence. Now the key about sequence with driver is making sure you don't just take the driver away in one piece, as we mentioned. So I'm going to make sure that when I do take the driver away here, I take the club away first of all with my shoulders and with my chest. So I'm moving the club first, the lower body stays nice and passive, it doesn't really want to move. Then as I start to get the kind of left arm passing my sternum here, you'll see how that stays really nice and connected. The last thing I want is that to work out here and get disconnected. So if I keep that left arm nice and connected, as the left arm works past my sternum, from there I can start to move my hips as well. From there I can start to get loaded up. And I spoke about the pitch change earlier in my voice. That means I've coiled up, that means I've started to create some power. And as you can imagine, once I've created power, the key is unleashing that power. So I'm going to do exactly the same sequence, but in reverse. So I'm going to start the downswing with the lower body. Then I'm going to allow the torso to release, then the chest and shoulders to release, then the arms and club to release. And that is what I'm wanting through impact. I'm wanting a nice sequence downswing so I can hit the golf ball out of the center of the driver. That's when you can start thinking about speed. That's when you can start thinking, how quickly can I release this driver and how fast can I get it going down that fairway? Ideally, like that. Now, you're probably thinking, James, all that sounds good and well. We spoke about sequence, we spoke about rhythm, but how can I even hold the club properly to make sure I generate the correct amount of power? Because I must have to grip that club really, really hard in order to do that. That is the total incorrect thing to do. If you're gripping the club any more than probably a 3 or 4 out of 10, 0 being the lightest, 10 being the hardest, you're really going to struggle to generate any power whatsoever. This is how we set the club. So if you struggle to set the club properly on the backswing, you think, I just can't seem to get that club to fold as I want it to. I can't seem to get that lever system working properly with the wrists. This could be down to your grip pressure. So I really, really think it's important to have a grip of around 3 out of 10. Gary Player once mentioned it's important to hold the golf club like you are holding a budgie, so a little bird. You don't want to harm it, you don't want to hurt it, you don't want to throttle it, but you also don't want to let it fly away. So that's just a nice little inkling for you on how to hold it. And from there, you can actually set the club a lot easier, because if you have too much tension in your grip, that transfers tension in your forearms, to your biceps, to your shoulders, and before you know it, your takeaway starts to look like this, and then you kind of start to try and think, oh, well, I can get that shot out there, that's pitched 115, and it's going to run up okay down the fairway. But all that can just be down to the fact that you're gripping the club too firm, especially under pressure. This is something which so many golfers tend to do, and it's the incorrect way of going about it. If you're under pressure, you want to have a nice free-flowing golf swing and then a nice sequence that you can rely on, because if your sequence is correct, I know I've gone back to sequence here, but it is vitally important, you will square that club face up a lot more often. You do not want to be relying on manipulation of the golf club. You don't want to be thinking, oh, I know I can turn the hands perfectly every single time. I'm a timing golfer. The problem with being a timing golfer is generally your time's going to run out if you're under pressure when it counts. It never runs out when you're on the driving range just hitting shot after shot after shot. But if your sequence is correct, then you can start to square that club face up perfectly. And it's almost like cheating, isn't it? Because imagine the perfect sequence allows you to hit it longer and hit it straighter. This is the reason why you've hit that big red button, and this is the reason why you're going to take this to the golf course. It could also be the reason that you save yourself $500 from that new driver, because you pick up 10, 15, maybe even 20 yards instantly just by implementing one of these simple factors. Like I said earlier, guys, you may have heard a few of these tips before, but I guarantee you haven't heard all of them in the same place. And this is where, with the help of your local PGA Pro, if you're going for lessons, work on what you need to think about, or think about what you need to work on, that's probably a better way around it, of how you can hit it longer and straighter. This is a really good place to start, but there's no substitute for one-on-one lessons. So if I were to get the right grip pressure, I know I need to move that club first with my upper body, and then I can set the sequence properly and then get through there. You'll see even with a miss hit, this is the beauty about this, I've hit that terribly, but it's still running up the fairway towards 250 yards. If I put one properly, you can see I can get one a lot straighter, a nice flight window, carrying 274 yards, running up to a total of just 295, a total of 295 yards, just shy of 300. And already there, I've put some distance on in this video, just thinking, right, my checkpoint is my grip pressure correct? Can I set that club on the way back? Can I then sequence properly on the way back? And from there, how is my rhythm? Am I snatching at it? Am I moving too fast or I'm coming over the top of the ball? If your sequence is incorrect, that's one of the huge factors you will see. You will see a big horrible slice out to the right, because if my sequence moves poorly on the downswing, that's the kind of shot that I'm going to get. You're either going to get a low pull because I squared the face up too much there. That was a terrible example, but I will show you another one. Or you will get a shot like this, where you come across it too much and you hit a big horrible slice out to the right. That one's got a total of 106 yards. That's certainly not what we want. We want to get the perfect sequence on the way down to get into delivery position, rotate that core straight through the shot. But how do I keep it in play? This is the key, guys. This is why I told you to watch all the way through the entirety of this video. I've been very lucky over the last 18 months. I've had golf lessons off some of the best golf instructors in the world. And one of the tips that I got from Mr. Ledbetter has transformed how I play golf. So it's actually a tip to do with the takeaway, or the move away as he likes to call it. Guys, if you're new to the channel, you won't have seen this, but if you are, I'm just going to quickly run through it because I think it is gold and you can't repeat it too much. when you take the club away or move the club away, it's vitally important that yes, your sequence is correct, but also the club face is in the right position. So I want to keep that left arm nice and close to the body here, and I want to make sure that I'm not fanning the club inside. I'm guilty of this when I play golf. I know I am. I'm in here working on it on the GolfSense system quite often, and that's going to help you make sure that club face stays square throughout the golf swing. And then if you sequence correctly on the way down, that word again, sequence, that club's going to work through nice and square all the way, making it easier to sequence on the way down. Yes, that word again, sequence. And then in an ideal world, the club face will remain square to the arc the whole time. So again, you don't need to worry about manipulating the hands. Yes, we've gone back to that again because it is so important to help you hit longer, straighter drives. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you all at exactly the same time tomorrow. That's one of the best drives I've hit in a very, very long time. 300, go!